What's up, everyone? This is Patrick, and I am back with another edition of Heavy Therapy. I wanted to discuss 10 more albums from 2021 that I now love, that at the time of putting together my 2021 year end list videos, I had yet to have heard. In one instance, I have already heard that album, but I did not actually enjoy it. It wasn't even on my top 40. It wasn't even on my runners up list, which I tweeted out um, on my Heavy Therapy Twitter. So, without further ado, let's discuss five of my favorite albums from 2021 that I missed. First up is a old school death metal band out of Monterey Bay, California, and I am talking about Dipygus with their album. Came out early in 2021, I think it was January, called Bushmeat. And this little slab of death metal was released on CD at least on Memento Mori. And here is the the pretty cool aesthetics. And Dipygus are I would say like a sloppier, more loose Undergang. I also hear some coffins. I hear some Vastum. I hear autopsy. That's going to get you a far way down the path of imagining what this band sounds like. You get 9 tracks, 37 minutes of music. And yeah, it's old school death metal, death doom at times. What's cool about this project is they they discuss some sort of interesting events in modern, relatively speaking, history, and they give you clues as to what they're talking about with their photos and their newspaper clippings. And it kind of reminds me of those disinformation books that came out, I think, at the turn of the century, maybe even as late as ten years ago or so. And uh, yeah, you could look up any one of these stories that they reference and discuss and kind of just get lost in how peculiar they are and so forth. But this is that dripping, sloppy, nasty, old school death metal. Again, this is Dippagus with Bushmeat. And yeah, check it out. I would say check out the track Plasmodial Mass. If you want to check out one track, that would be the track I would suggest checking out. Up next is a really killer release from the band Revulsion. This is going to be a hard one to see. It's a self-titled release out on Transcending Obscurity Records, and this pretty cool multi-panel gatefold here, lyrics on the inside. There's a gnarly little grub worm or some kind of infected mass on the CD, and this is a modern death metal, some shades of mellow death, but it's not mellow death. It's old school death metal from Finland. You get 10 tracks, 37 minutes of music, and you get these clangy bass lines. You got good chugs and riffs. The vocals, they actually sound a bit like Randy Blythe of Lamb of God. but the band sounds nothing like Lamb of God. This is legit death metal. Some other bands maybe that help you understand the sound here is Temple of Void, Gorphilia, another awesome band from Finland, sort of Gorphilia style riffing. There's some dissonance. You can at times their songs bring you to Cannibal Corpse, the Bleeding Era, Undeath. Then comes to the mind after thinking that. But this is a all 10 tracks here on this self-titled album by Revulsion. I believe this is their first full length. This is really good. So yeah, check out Revulsion if you like Finnish, modern, old school death metal. You won't be disappointed. A favorite track, man, really, these are all really killer songs. Yeah, and some of the best songs are actually in Finnish, so I don't want to butcher them. So I'll say track 5 on this album, but also track 6, Wastelands. Uh, the first track, Last Echoes of Life. Give it a spin. It's 37 minutes, so well worth your time. Revulsion with Revulsion. Next up, another CD, and then I'm on to some vinyl. This is a blackened death metal band from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And we're talking about this two-piece project, Altered Dead with Returned to Life. And this is out on Memento Mori, like Dipygus was. And this is 10 tracks, almost 34 minutes of music. Uh, they really sound like the band Grave. Also some Entombed meets Undergang. It's a punky hardcore vibe. I also think of some of the Maggot Stomp bands like Abraded or Inoculation. There's there's a lot of dynamic parts in this album. Well written songs. They have been around for a little while. Altered Dead. This is their second full length album. I believe their first one was self titled and came out in 2016. But yeah, again, the vocals here stand out. More blackened influence here. Uh, there's a cover of a Celtic Frost song, "Into the Crypts of Rays," that I think is better than the original Celtic Frost song. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, also dead. Return to life. Just another great, um, chuggy, memorable riffs. Um, well composed death metal album that came out in 2021. Came out in January. Um, these first three albums actually came out quite early in the year. I missed them until the very end, but I'm happy to say that I now own them and they are great. So the final two for this part one here of 10 2021 releases that I've missed are on vinyl. And this first one that I'm showing, I don't usually revisit albums, more than I would say. I sometimes give albums two listens if if I think, man, there might be something here after sort of a mediocre, lukewarm first listen. I gave this album, I think, three full listens, maybe even four, and I was like, okay, I'm not doing that again. I do not like this. But you know what? It actually was the Death Doom metalhead, Liam, here on YouTube. He showed this album off. He said he had it on cassette, I believe, but he got it on vinyl, and the vinyl sounded better. And just something in that moment, I guess, subconsciously remembering my listen, I remembered that the album was short, and I said, I'm going to give it one more listen. And then all of a sudden it clicked, and it is now I mean, it is really now one of my most listened to albums of all of 2021, and I am talking about Atrabilis with Apex Sapien. This is out on 20 bucks spin. This is Tech Death, and I am picky about Tech Death, but 20 bucks spin put out two amazing Tech Death albums last year, Enigmatum and now Atrabilis with Apex Sapien. What can I say? Just the vocal performance on here is one of my favorites of the year. It's brutal, like Faceless Burial. This is, yeah, I would say a modern tech death masterpiece right here. And it's a pretty cool variant I got. Let me show you that. Look at that. It is, yeah, white transparent with these orange, forgot what it's really called, these orange globular, you know, splatter. And yeah, just a killer album. I would love to see this band live. I would love to even be able to watch a live performance on YouTube. There's not very many. You can't really find Apex. You can't find HAB list playing any songs from this album live on YouTube. Comes with a lyric sheet, band photo on the other side, and the the entire package, the aesthetic, the production choices. It's very crystal clear production. Uh, a little bit of that cryptopsy comes in. But yeah, I can't really place who they sound like. I'm not very familiar with a lot of tech death bands. So tell me in the comments who they sound like. Who else should I check out? Again, I think of Cryptopsy, I think of Faceless Burial, but a just phenomenal vocal performance on here, phenomenal songs, extremely talented band, and excited to see um, what else this band does in the future. This is their first full length album, and this brings me the to album number 5, and this is actually a band that I had the pleasure of seeing live only a couple of months ago. They were at a venue that they had no business being at, which the vocalist even said to me after the show. Amazing. They sounded amazing live. I'm talking about the band Knoll and their album Interstish. First heard of this band and album when I uh, when I was going through Decibel's top 40 albums of the year. Never heard of this album. It was number 31 on their list. And this is a death grind band out of Knoxville, Memphis, Tennessee. I thought I was wrong there. Memphis, Tennessee, 12 tracks, 34 minutes and 50 seconds worth of music. This is an independent release, and I'm wearing a Full of Hell shirt. I've never heard a band sound like Full of Hell before until this band, Noel. They are deeply influenced by Full of Hell. They would admit that. One of them had a Full of Hell beanie, and it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like stealing Full of Hell. It sounds like a band absolutely influenced by Full of Hell, and just killer aesthetic here too. So yeah, really, if you don't know what Full of Hell sounds like, an extremely noisy and fast death grind band. Well, that's what Knoll sounds like. This is paranoid. This is apocalyptic. This is well crafted, dark, dark death grind. The vocal approach. He has these. banshee-like shrieks, but it can also do these low gutturals, and the vocalist's name is James. And James actually also did the percussion on this album. Maybe another band to think of is Antichrist, Siege Machine. The vinyl itself is on black. And just for a bonus, um, I also picked up their split 7-inch with another Tennessee-based band called Autolith. Noel autographed that for me. And yeah, Dissonant. There's even some trumpet on one of these split tracks. This also came out last year. This is actually on the yeah, uh, white translucent with some black wispy smoke in it. And yeah, Autolith is also a good band. Check them out. It's like sort of sludgy, sludgy doom. But Knoll is a deathgrind band, and they even have their second album comes out in only a couple of months. When I'm putting out at the time of putting out this video, they're a deathgrind band, and to me, they're one of the best that I've ever heard already. Because for me, Full of Hell is my favorite deathgrind band. Yep. So this is Knoll with Interstish, and one other. I know I wrote down one other band. Infernal Coil is another band that if you know what Infernal Coil sounds like, you might like Knoll. If you don't know what Infernal Coil sounds like, check them out. But this has been part one of the 10 2021 metal releases that I missed at the time of putting out my year in list. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, which is also under the same name, heavy_therapy. I'm also on Instagram. And yeah, peace.